Hello, are you ready to learn for today?
Ayan. So our lesson for today will be solving right triangles. So how do we solve right triangles? Yan, 'di ba? And later on this type of lesson, we'll try to understand also how do we apply this or lesson for the next following lessons that we will be having, especially yung applications na niya. Kasi doon yun na makikita yung essence ng trigonometry talaga. So as we start, let's recall our lesson previously about the use of scientific calculator. So we are to identify or using our scientific calculator, we are to find or identify each ratio to the nearest thousand. So that means we have to round it off to the nearest three decimal places. Yan, three decimal places. Let's start. So let's practice kung parehas pa ba ng result yung ating mga calculator before we start solving, di ba?
So, who wants to answer this one? What would be the value of cosine 37 degrees? Reminder, you round it off to the nearest thousands. That means three decimal places. Sige, if you want to answer, you may raise your hand. What's the value of cosine 37 degrees? Yes, Lorene. 0.799? Okay, sige, tingnan natin. So, the correct answer, very good, Lorene, it's approximately 0.799. So, we round it up kasi diba ang katabi, ito yung third natin na decimal place. So, si 8, since ang katabi niya sa right side is 6, so we have to add 1 from that 8. So, we'll be having an answer that is 0.799. Once again, very good, Lorene. So, nakita niyo na yung isa sa mga examples natin. Hopefully, naalala niyo, just need to press cosine, then 37. Then you press equals, and then lalabas yung sagot. Okay, let's proceed with number 2. Tangent 21 degrees. So, how do we type this on our calculator? Tangent 21 degrees. Sige, if you want to answer, you may raise your hand. Ayan. Yes, Princess Ashley. 0.3844. Tingnan natin. So, it's tangent 21 degrees. Ayan siya. Okay, very good. So, the correct answer here is 0.384. So, plus 1 din tayo, diba? Kasi ang katabi ni 3 dito ay 8. Very good, Princess Ashley. So, let's proceed with the last one on this part. So, we have cosecant 54 degrees. Ayan. So, magandang recall natin to kasi just like what I have mentioned previously on our lesson, we don't have that cosecant function or button on our scientific calculator. Pero paano ba natin yan itinatype or paano ba natin yan sinusolve or kinukuha pagdating sa ating calculator? Diba? Naalala niyo pa ba? We usually identify the reciprocal of cosecant from the basic trigonometric ratio. Sino bang reciprocal niya or inverse ni cosecant? Sa ating basic trigonometric ratio, si sine, si cosine, o si tangent ba? Yan, very good, Lorene. So, ang inverse or reciprocal ni cosecant is si sine. That means you will be using the sine function. Yan. So, yes, Lorene, what's gonna be your answer? Yan, tingnan natin. So, paano mo nakuha yung 1.236, Lorene? Si 1, tama ba? Ayun, tama. Okay, very good. So, ang ginawa ni Lorene, sabi niya, 1 divided by, so pwede niyo tingnan yung screen na to, mas malaki nasa taas. 1 divided by sine, because the inverse of cosecant is sine, so 1 divided by sine 54, that's gonna be equal to 1.236. Very good, Lorene. So, the correct answer is approximately 1.236. Naalala niyo na? Gets po? So, don't worry. Most likely today, we'll just be using this two examples. Yan yung mga most likely magagamit natin na lesson or na skill. Yung dun lang sa dalawa. Hindi tayo gagamit ng inverse or reciprocal trigonometric ratio for today. Anyway, as we may continue, we can also use our scientific calculator to find the value of an angle or each angle given that we already have the value of the trigonometric ratios, such as this first example. Remember that if you will be answering this one, you have to round it off to the nearest hundredths. That means you have to round it off to the nearest two decimal places. Ayan, so if sine A is equal to 0.5736, what should be the value of A? Yes, Liz Angela. So, ang sabi ni Liz Angela, it's gonna be 35 or 35.00. Paano mo nakuha yung ganyang sagot, Liz Angela? Ayan. Sige, you can also type your response, but yan habang dinatype ni Liz, tingnan natin kung same kami ng ginawa. Ayan, shift sign, tama, parehas kami. So, shift sign, so that's how you will transfer sign on the other side, so that the remaining value here is just the measurement of the angle. So, A is equal to shift sign, so sign raised to negative 1 or arc sign. Ayan, so, ito yung kailangan natin mapalabas sa scientific calculator natin eh. Sign raised to negative 1 of 0.5736. So, how do we have that on our scientific calculator? Sabi nga ni Liz, you have to press shift, or from other calculators, pwede yung second F. Yan, I think yung para sa iba, ito yung ginagamit nila. Yung may second tapos may F, ganyan, na function. Ayan, so, minsan kasi hindi shift yung pindutan. Anyway, if you press shift sign, then press 0.5736, that's how you will be getting 35.00. Since two decimal places tayo, pwedeng 0.00 or just 35. They're just the same. So, anyway, the correct answer here, very good, Liz Angela. It's around 35 degrees. Gets po? Ayan, so let's proceed with number 2. How about cosine B? So, cosine B is equal to 0.9619. So, the question here is, ano yung value ng ating angle B? So, B is equal to, ano kayong value niya? So, this time, hindi na sa sine ililipat mo si cosine na, di ba? Ayan. Yes, Lorene. Ayan, ang sagot niya sa chat box ay 16. Ikaw, Liz Angela, anong sagot mo? Yan, so 15.87. Okay ba yung sagot natin? Pero papansin niyo halos magkaparehas, diba? So, ano yung mas tama? So, tingnan natin. So, cosine, ayan, answer din ni Princess Ashley is 15.87. Ayan, so tingnan natin. So, if you type this one on your calculator, this is shift cosine naman, then the value 0.9619. This time we'll be having an answer that is around 15.8667 and so on. But we have to round it off to the nearest hundred, that means two decimal places. So, kung ang instruction ay sinasabi having round it off to the nearest whole number. Tama sila rin, 16 ang sagot dyan, 16 degrees. Pero since 2 decimal places tayo, to the nearest hundredths siya, so ang katabi ng 6 dito ay 6 din, so plus 1 tayo dyan. So very good, Liz Angela and Princess Ashley, the correct answer is 15.87 degrees. Okay po? Okay lang, hindi naman bawal magkamali dito sa exercise natin, di ba? At least napapansin natin na, okay, 2 decimal places, hindi para whole number. Gets po? Okay. Let's proceed to the third example. Ito, inverse trigonometric ratio. How about cotangent C is equal to 0.2614? What should be the value of angle C? O, cotangent na yan, ha? So hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta na shift tangent lang ang gamitin mo. Although inverse or reciprocal ni cotangent is tangent, hindi basta-basta na pwedeng shift tangent lang yan. Ano yung ginagawa natin kapag cotangent na yung tanong? Yan. But one of the parts for you to answer this one is to actually press shift tangent. So you'll be having tangent raised to negative 1 kasi nga ang inverse or reciprocal ni cotangent ay negative 1, ay tangent. So ano yung nilalagay natin sa loob? Anong value? Meron tayong ginagawa dyan, di ba? Additional. Because it's inverse. So 1 divided by, ayan, 1 divided by 0.2614. So yan yung i-input nyo sa calculator nyo. Instead of just shift tangent, then the value 0.2614. Yan. So sabi nila rin it's gonna be 75.35. How about the others? Anong tingin nyo na sagot natin dyan? Tingnan natin. So if you type this one on your calculator, it's gonna be around, yan. Yan. So tama, nakalagay dyan, 1 divided by the given value 0.2614 and then shift tangent because the inverse of cotangent is tangent. And the value will be equal to 75 or approximately 75.35 degrees. Gets po? Ayan. So once again, ang magagamit natin most likely is just the idea on how to identify the measurement of the angle. And once again, ang gagamitin lang natin is sine, cosine, and tangent. The basic trigonometric ratio.
Pero syempre, recall na rin natin yung ating lesson na nakaraang meeting. Now, as we may proceed, let's now discuss what do we mean by solving right triangle. So, in every right triangle, there will always be a right angle. Kaya nga siya tinawag na right triangle, di ba? So, there is an angle that measures 90 degrees. So, another part or another two parts of this given right angle is what we call the acute angles. Yan, the angles other than the right angles. They are called acute angles because they are angles that are less than 90 degrees. Then, when it comes to the sides, yan ang pinakasikat dyan. The longest side of the right triangle, opposite your right angle is what we call the hypotenuse. And the two remaining sides is what we call the legs. Or, syempre, singular. Leg lang nga dapat yan. Walang S yung dalawang gilid. Anyway, so to solve a right triangle is to determine the measures of the remaining parts. So kapag nagsosolve tayo ng right triangle, dapat daw makuha natin lahat ng measurement ng bawat part. Ilan ng bawat parts. So ilan ba lahat ng parts natin pagdating sa isang right triangle? So meron tayong 6. Tatlong sides, tatlong angles. Doon sa tatlong angle, kasama dyan, yung isa dyan is right angle. Therefore, hindi na natin isosolve yan mamaya. Because constant naman yung measurement ng ating right angle. It's always 90 degrees. So later, we will just be solving for the value of the two acute angles. Ayan. So aside from that, we also have 3 sides that specifically be your hypotenuse and also the values of the two legs. So kapag nagsosolve tayo ng right triangle, itong 5 yung kailangan kumpleto yung values nila. So that's what we mean by solving right triangles. Kailangan ma-identify mo lahat ng measurement ng 6. Pero bakit sinabi ko 5 na lang? Kasi alam mo na yung measurement ng right angle. 90 degrees na agad yan. So 5 na lang yung magiging problema natin mamaya. But in a right triangle, we can solve it if 2 parts are given. So, hindi naman pwedeng magsosolve ka lang na ang given mo is the measurement of the right angle. So, kailangan may given values tayo. So, the examples later on will be having different scenarios which gives us yung tigda dalawang parts. So, iba-iba yan. Depende sa example or depende sa given. Pwedeng ang ibigay sa inyo na measurement is yung isang value ng leg, then isang value ng hypotenuse. So, ilan na lang yung isosolve nating value? Yung sukat ng angle, dalawa yan, acute angles, and also the remaining leg. That's one possible scenario. Isa pang possible scenario, ibigay sa iyo ang sukat ng isang acute angle, ibigay sa iyo ang sukat ng hypotenuse. Ilan na lang hanapin mo? 3 ulit. Yung isa pang acute angle, tapos yung sukat ng dalawang legs. That's why we will be having different examples later. So that we will be aware of different cases wherein meron tayong dalawang given and then isosolve natin yung remaining na unknown values or unknown measurements of the different parts. Gets po? That's the idea of solving right triangles. Anyway, isa pa nating alalahanin is, I remember na pag pinag-add mo yung dalawang sukat ng acute angles natin, it's always gonna be 90 degrees. Yan. So, pag pinag-add natin ito, 90 degrees. Tandaan yan. So, we'll be using that certain idea later. Now, as we may continue, ito na nga yung unang example natin in solving right triangle. So, in this scenario, we are given with two legs. Hindi tayo yung example natin. Ito, legs kasi itong dalawa. Si 18.5 centimeters at saka si 14.2 centimeters. Ibig sabihin, yung dalawang legs lang yung binigay sa ating value. Ano-ano ngayon yung kailangan nating isolve para masabi natin na this triangle is already solved. Ayan, so yung mga values ng ating sides. So, meron na tayong dalawa, so isa na lang yung kulang and that serves as our hypotenuse. Ayan, si C. And then yung dalawa is the two acute angles such as angle A and also angle B. Yung sukat yung dalawang yan. So, yung tatlong measurements yung hahanapan natin ng value or isa-solve natin. Now, we can have these different steps on solving. So, we can deal first with the missing side. Kasi kung titignan ninyo, meron tayo dyang dalawang sides na na-given. So for us to identify the value of C or the missing side, which is the hypotenuse, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. Ayan, the sum of the squares of each leg is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Specifically, A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared, na kung saan yung both A and B natin ay legs at yung C natin ay yung hypotenuse. Now, we can name, ayan, tama, Liz Angela, A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. Pero tandaan nyo, dapat si A at si B ay parehas na legs. So, ayan. So, ginawa ko dito, opposite na siya ni angle A. So, yan siya na yung ginawa kong side A. And then, opposite na angle B, ito na yung gawin nating side B. Sakto lang din naman yung mga pangalan nila. And then, C will be our C, specifically, or our hypotenuse. Now, we could just substitute the values. 18.5 squared for the value of A, and then 14.2 squared for the value of B. And then, that's gonna be equal to C squared. Ngayon, so wag na kayong ma-stress dyan sa ano yung square ng 18.5? Parang hindi ata natin yung diniscuss nung nag-discuss tayo ng mga perfect square. That is because 18.5 is not it's not an exact whole number value, di ba? Hindi talaga natin yan sinama sa pag-discuss natin ng mga perfect square. So, meron kayong scientific calculator. Pwede nyo nang isolve isa-isa yan. 18.5, then i-square mo. Tapos, 14.2, then i-square mo. So, ang lalabas dyan sa 18.5 squared is gonna be 342.25. Tapos, 201.64 naman yung 14.2 squared. So, meron yang function sa scientific calculator ninyo. So, kunyari, yung 18.5 type natin. If you press this one, yan, zoom in natin. Ito, yung may x squared sa scientific calculator ninyo. I think for the app that also exists. Wait lang, check ko sa cellphone ko. Kasi yung iba sa atin, di ba, gumagamit ng application. Wait lang. Nakita nyo ba yan sa app? Response nga kayo sa chat box or unmute nyo yung mic nyo. Sa app natin, meron naman, di ba? Ayun, meron. Sa taas ng, sa baba ng sign. Yung pindutan dyan, sa baba ng sign. Ayun, pag pinindot nyo yan, x, yan yung lalabas na squared. 18.5 squared. So, equals yun na. Then, pindutin nyo na lang yung, sa mga naka-scientific calculator, lalo na kung casio yung gamit nyo, pwede to yung S to D. Ayan, pag pinindot nyo, magiging decimal. Pero dun sa mga hindi, or hindi naka-scientific or app yung gamit nila, wait lang. Ano ba yan? Pwede nyo pindutin yung yung D over C. Sa baba ng x squared, yung pinindot nyo kanina, sa baba ng x squared. Oo, yung baba ng sign, nandun yung x squared. Tapos yung nasa baba ng x squared, meron dyang D over C. Ito yung itsura niya. Ganun, D over C. Ibig sabihin yan, you will transform your fraction form to decimal. Ayan. So, pag pinindot nyo yun, magiging decimal value siya. Gets po? O, ayan. So, hindi na tayo ma-stress. Kahit naka-up kayo, walang problema. Anyway, as we may continue, we can add 342.25 plus 201.64. That's where you get 543.89. Tapos, scientific calculator na rin gamitin nyo dyan. Then, you press square root of both sides. You will be having the value 23.32. Very good, Liz Angela. Now, mas mabilis to sa scientific calculator pag diniretso nyo na. So, meron din kasi tayong function na square root sa scientific calculator ninyo. I think, meron din yan sa tabi ng x squared sa mga naka-app. Pwede nyo nang i-type dyan. Kasi eventually, di ba, after you add the squares of each leg, eventually get the square root of it. So, pwede mo nang idiretso 18.5 squared plus 14.2 squared. Yan. Yan. So, kuha mo yung square root ng sum nila. Ayun din yung sagot, 23.32. So, ganun din yung lalabas. Gets po? Addition yan kapag ka ang hinahanap is hypotenuse. Pero kapag ka ang missing ay isang leg, subtraction yan. So, yung square ng hypotenuse minus the square of the leg and then get the square root of that one. Okay po? So, hindi tayo mahirapan sa solving kasi may scientific calculator na tayo. So, ang problema na lang natin dyan is maalala nyo yung proseso kung paano natin makukuha yung values ng mga sides. Okay, so the next problem that we have here is for us to identify the measurement of each angle. So to identify the value of angle A, gagamit na tayo ngayon ng basic trigonometric ratio. Kasi pagdating dito, kailangan natin ng isang concept na kung saan may relate natin yung sukat ng angles at saka sukat ng sides ng isang right triangle. And the best way for us to have that is to use our basic trigonometric ratio kasi nga gamit yung mga ratios ng sides, equal ito sa mga values ng ating trigonometric functions. Ngayon, ang problema natin, paano tayo hanap ng ratio kung hindi natin nakikita dun sa mismong right triangle natin yung adjacent, yung opposite, tsaka yung hypotenuse. So, what we will be doing is to first identify saan mo muna ilalagay si theta or our reference or given angle. So, since we are looking for the value of angle A, dyan natin lalagay si theta. Ayan, nakita nyo, lumabas. So, that's where your angle A will be located. And then after that, so you will put the names of the sides on the given values. So, yes, si C ay ating hypotenuse, pero hindi ko na siya i-indicate kasi nga na-solve naman na natin yung value niya. So, ang gagamitin nating values is yung nakikita nyo dito sa given. Specifically, this one, the opposite side, 18.5, and this one, the adjacent side, which is 14.2. So, tandaan, sa strategy natin na to, kailangan ang bibigyan mo lang muna ng pangalan is yung dalawang may given measurements. Specifically, 18.5 at saka adjacent side which is 14.2. Tandaan, nakadepende to sa given. So, kunyari, binigay sa atin hypotenuse, o di gagamitin mo yung hypotenuse. So, this time, ang binigay lang sa atin is opposite saka adjacent. So, we'll be using opposite and adjacent side. So, if we go back to the basic trigonometric ratio, sine, cosine, and tangent, we have the mnemonic SOHCAHTOA. Ano ngayon yung pwede nating gamitin? Ano dyan sa tatlong yan yung gumagamit ng ratio between the opposite side and also the adjacent side, specifically the letters O and A? Sino dyan sa kanilang tatlo? Si So, si Ka, o si Towa? Yan, very good, Lorin, Liz Angela, tama. Ayan, si tangent function yung gumagamit ng opposite tsaka adjacent because in tangent functions or TOA, we have tangent of the given angle theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Ayan, so ang opposite side natin ay 18.5 at ang adjacent side natin ay 14.2. So if we try to interpret this one in such a way na nakaka-relate siya with angle A, syempre, gagawin na nating tangent of angle A kasi yun yung angle na tinutukoy natin. Tangent of angle A, so yun yung ipapalit natin kay theta, si A. And then, ang opposite side natin ulit ay 18.5, kaya ayan siya, nasa taas. And then, nasa baba is the adjacent side which is 14.2. Gets? Naintindihan nyo nangyari? Okay. So, proceed tayo with solving for the measurement of angle A. Hindi na yan magiging mahirap sa atin. Ginagawa na natin yan. How do we identify the measurement of the angle given the ratio? Ginagawa natin to decimal value nga lang, pero pwede rin siya kahit fraction yung given. So, di ba, nililipat natin tong tangent sa kabila. We make it shift tangent or arc tangent. Tangent raised to -1 of 18.5 over 14.2. Now, you can type this already on your calculator. Ayan, so, paano natin ipapakita yan sa scientific calculator natin? Katulad lang din ng ginagawa nyo kanina, shift, then tan. So, magiging tangent raised to -1 of 18.5 over 14.2. So, kung nahirapan kayo hanapin yung function na katulad nito, yung fraction. Ayan. Meron din kasi, for the others, I think if you're using the app, you can use d over c. I think that's gonna be the function, fraction form. So, pwede nyo pag pinindot nyo yan, magkakaroon ng dalawang box, numerator and denominator. So, you can input the numerator 18.5 and for the denominator 14.2. Then, huwag niyong kalimutan na mag-close parenthesis para sure na hindi kayo magma-math error. And then you press equals. And that's gonna be the value of the angle. So, 2 decimal places lang tayo sa mga sagot natin ngayong araw para consistent tayo with the different exercises and example. So, we have 52.49. The answer here or the measurement of angle A is 52.49 degrees. 52.49. Ganun lang. Pero dapat tandaan nyo, nakadepende yung gagamitin natin na trigonometric ratio sa binigay sa atin na sides. This time, ang binigay sa atin is opposite tsaka adjacent. So, TOA tayo. Pero pag binigay sa'yo opposite tsaka hypotenuse, hindi tayo TOA. Sine tayo. So, opposite and hypotenuse, O and H yung binigay eh. Gets po? Okay. Ngayon, hindi na ganun kahirap para malaman or para ma-identify yung value ni angle B. So, dito, ang gagawin na lang natin is, since pag pinag-add mo yung sukat ng angle A at ng angle B, ang sum lang nila ay 90 degrees, ibig sabihin, kung ang angle A mo ay 52.49 degrees, ito nga siya, yung sukat ni angle A, so, iisip ka na lang ng number na pag in-add mo kay 52.49 is equal to 90 degrees. In other words, subtract mo na lang. 'Di ba? Yung 52.49 na nakuha mo as value ni angle A para makuha yung value ni angle B. So, that's gonna be 90 minus 52.49. And it's because we have our scientific calculator, that means hindi na natin pahirapan yung sarili natin. Type nyo 90 minus 52.49. And we're done. Gawin nyo lang siyang decimal. That's gonna be around 37.51 degrees. Ayun na yung sukat ni angle B. So, let's have one example na kayo naman yung sasagot. Probably related to this one. So, ito yon.
The first unknown part, which is the value of side C. So in this case, ayan, so we'll just name the two legs as A and B. So you can name this side as side A and then side B naman yung ating isang side. And our hypotenuse is missing. So same process lang din naman nung kanina. You can use Pythagorean theorem. Diretso na nga yan eh. Diretso na ng square root of 5 squared. Square root of 5 squared plus 4 squared on your scientific calculator and you'll get this answer. Yan, very good. Princess Ashley, Liz Angela. Yan, it's around 6 point, yan, Lindsay, very good. 6.40. O, tandaan nyo lang, kailangan kompleto yung unit pag nagsasagot kayo kasi ang unit natin ay millimeters. Anyway, tama naman yung ginawa nyong proseso. Unit na lang ang kulang. Anyway, so that's correct. 6.40 millimeters. And how about the measurement of angle A? Sige, you can type your answers. Yan, measurement of angle A is 51.34 degrees. Tignan natin kung pares tayo, Lorraine. So for this one, you will be using TOA. Kasi once again, ang binigay sa atin dito is the opposite side and also the adjacent side. So we'll use tangent theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So tangent of angle A, since we want to solve for angle A first, so that's gonna be tangent of angle A is equal to opposite, which is 5, and then adjacent, which is 4. Then shift tangent ka lang, or arc tangent of 5 over 4. You can type this already on your calculator. Shift tangent 5 over 4. The correct answer is 51.34. And if you subtract that 51.34 from 90 degrees, you will also get the measurement of angle B, which is 38.66. Gets po?
So that's our first and second most likely examples. Let's proceed with the second type or the second scenario wherein kung ang given naman natin ay hypotenuse at saka yung isang leg. This is almost the same scenario with the first one. Although pagkakaiba nga kanina, dalawang legs yung given. Dito, yung isang given is the hypotenuse. So, if the hypotenuse is around 23 meters and one of the legs measures 17 meters, we are to identify the following. First, ano yung sukat ng isang leg? Si A. Second, ano yung sukat ng dalawang acute angles natin? Si angle A at saka si angle B. So, halos pares lang din naman nung kanina. So, the same as what we were doing a while ago, we will also use Pythagorean theorem in solving for the measurement of one of the legs or the unknown leg, which is A. So, since A na yan, gawin natin siyang A since leg din naman siya. And then the other leg, we can name it as B and our hypotenuse 23 meters as C. Substitute the values. Ayan, so a squared kasi nga unknown si a, and then the value of b is 17, so we have 17 squared. And then the value of c, which is 23, therefore we'll have 23 squared. So you can use your calculator to directly square those numbers. So we have a squared plus 289, the square of 17, and the square of 520, the square of 23 is equal to 529. So we can, yan, yung pwede mo ilipat yan, di ba? So addition property of equality, and one of the shortcuts there, you could transfer that 289 on the other side, making it 529 minus 289, that's equal to 240. And if you get the square root of both sides, that's equal to 4 square root of 15 or equal to 15.49. Yan, very good, Lorene. So, ang shortcut naman dyan, kapag ka sa calculator nyo, tas ang leg yung missing, isubtract nyo lang yung square ng hypotenuse. Ayun, minus yung square ng leg. So, ito, square root nila. So, square root ng square ng hypotenuse, which is 23 squared minus 17 squared. Square ng leg. Ayun din siya. Yan. So, gawin na natin decimal, 15.49. Gets po? O, halos the same lang. Although dito, leg yung sinolve natin. Kasi kanina hypotenuse. Gets? Gets? Naintindihan? Okay. So, proceed tayo with the measurement of angle A. So, katulad lang din ng ginawa natin kanina, for us to solve for the measurement of angle A, we first identify our given angle. So, we put our reference angle to angle A kasi yan yung una natin gustong isolve, si angle A. So, that means opposite to, si A. Pero hindi naman natin siya gagamitin kasi ang binigay sa atin na value is 23 meters, which represents our hypotenuse, at yung ating 17. So, kung opposite to, si A, si 17 adjacent. Yan. So, that means ang gagamitin natin si opposite, ay si hypotenuse at saka si adjacent. So, anong gagamitin natin sa tatlo? Is it so, ka, or towa? Cosine function. So, yan, ka. Ka means the cosine of an angle, theta, is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So, ang ating angle ay angle A at ang ating adjacent side is gonna be 17. So, ito yon 17 over hypotenuse, which is 23. So, A over H. Ayan. So, katulad lang din ng ginawa natin kanina para ma-solve yung angle A. Yan. Shift cosine natin. Malilipat siya dito sa kabila. So, magiging angle A is equal to shift cosine 17 over 23. So, type natin yan. Shift cosine. Oops, hindi lumabas yung raised to negative 1. Shift cosine 17. Yan. Kung nahirapan kayo hanapin yung fraction sa calculator ninyo, pwede rin naman divided by 23. Pares lang din yung lalabas na sagot dyan. It's gonna be 42.34. Yan, degrees. O, tingin ko alam nyo na yung sukat niyan eh. How do I identify the measurement of angle B? O, subtract nyo lang. Subtract nyo lang yung nakuha yung 42.34 degrees dun sa 90 degrees. So, magiging 90 minus 42.34 degrees, which is equal to, using our scientific calculator, that's gonna be around 47.66 degrees. Okay, let's have this given example.
2 minutes is done. Let's try to answer it first. Ayan, so you can type your answers on the chat box. Simula tayo dun sa value ni B. So the same lang din yan. Pwede mong diretso dyan, ano eh. Diba? Since the leg is missing, you can get the difference between the hypotenuse and also the leg, or the other measurement of the leg. So that's gonna be 13 squared of 13 squared minus 12 squared. Diretso yan. So ano nakuha mo, Lorene? And Princess, okay, 5. Tingnan natin. Very good. 5 inches. That's correct. Pag in-input mo yun, square root of 13 squared minus 12 squared, lalabas dyan, 5. So, kahit hindi na do 2 decimal places, 5 naman na din yung sagot. And for the value of angle A, ayan, so it is equal to 67.38 degrees. Ayan, katulad ng binanggit ko kanina, hindi ka gagamit ng ka dito. Napansin nyo, parehas lang sila ng example na diniscuss natin eh. The only difference that we have is that we'll be using so on this given example kasi opposite tsaka hypotenuse yung binigay. Kanina, adjacent tsaka hypotenuse. So, ka yung ginamit natin. Ngayon, same lang din naman yung itsura ng example, pero ang binigay kasi sa atin, opposite tsaka hypotenuse. Kaya so, or sine yung ginamit natin. But the process is still the same. Yan, ilagay mo doon yung given angle natin sa angle A. So, opposite side, which is 12. Adjacent side, hypotenuse, which is 13. So, 12 over 13. Then, shift sign mo lang. 12 over 13 is gonna be 67.38. Gets po? And then, subtract na lang natin yung 67.38 na yan sa 90 degrees to get 22.62 degrees.
Ayan. So, let's discuss more examples. Let's proceed to the third scenario. Ito medyo iba na. Kasi as we read this one, the given here is one leg and also one acute angle. Hindi na sides yung unang binigay sa atin. Tig-isa. Isang acute angle and this given right triangle ABC. Angle A is given. That's already 63 degrees. And then we have also another given here, which is 11 feet. That represents our leg or one of the legs of this given right triangle. So, hindi na siya katulad nung kanina. But we are to solve here since nakuha na yung isang acute angle, isa na lang isosolve natin since yung sukat ng angle B na lang or yung isa pang acute angle. And since missing yung dalawang sides, solve din natin sila, B at saka C. Yan yung scenario natin. So kanina kasi dalawang sides yung given, isa na lang solve natin. Ngayon tig-isa. Isang side, isang acute angle. Now, isa sa mga unang pinakamadaling isolve dito is yung sukat ng angle B. So what we can do is to just, yan, katulad ng ginagawa natin sa last part kanina, since we're given already with angle A, we can subtract that value, 63 degrees, to get or to identify the measurement of angle B. So that's gonna be 90 degrees minus 60 degrees. So, tapos agad sa angle B, 27 degrees. O, di ba? Ang dali lang. Ayan. So, dyan na mahinto yung sukat ng mga acute angles natin. So, the next will be the measurements of the sides. Which is, although hindi na tayo pwede gumamit ng Pythagorean theorem because based on the given on the sides, isa lang yung side na binigay sa atin at dalawa yung missing. Kapag ka Pythagorean theorem gagamitin natin, dapat meron dalawang sides na given para ma-identify yung pangatlo. So, hindi na pwede si Pythagorean. But, ang gagawin natin dyan, since given naman tayo with 63 degrees as our as our reference or given angle, we'll use the basic trigonometric ratio to identify the values of B and C. So una, we are to identify the value of B. So ganito yung strategy natin. We will set 63 degrees as our theta. Now, pwedeng kapag nagsosolve kayo, ilagay nyo pa si theta dyan. Pwedeng hindi rin naman. Kasi having that value, 63 degrees, already indicates or already tells us that 63 degrees is gonna be our reference angle o yung angle na gagamitin natin. So, pwedeng ilagay mo dyan si theta para alam mo lang kung nasan yung opposite, adjacent, tsaka hypotenuse. May idea ka lang kasi sanay tayo na ginagawa natin yan sa mga examples natin before. So, walang problema. Nilagay ko lang din siya dyan. Now, ito yung una nyo nga hanapin. Ano yung, saan dun sa mga sides yung may binigay na value? Just like this one, 11 feet. So, identify mo anong side ba yan? Opposite, adjacent, o hypotenuse. So, yan yung una nating hanapin. So, since it's opposite our given angle theta or 63 degrees, 11 feet will be our opposite side. So, ayan na isang given natin. Yung may ibinigay na value or sukat, 11 feet. Ang susunod mong hahanapin is, ano ba yung side na gusto mong isolve muna or unahing isolve? Anong value ng side yung gusto mong unahing isolve? According to this, we want to solve first on the measurement of side B. So, i-indicate natin dyan. Ito yung gusto ko si side B. So, tatanungin kita, ano ba yan si side B? Hypotenuse hypotenuse o adjacent? Kasi may opposite na tayo. Dalawa na lang choices mo. Hypotenuse ba siya o adjacent side? Ito yung opposite ng right angle si C. So, si C yung hypotenuse, si B, adjacent side. So, we will now be having the opposite side and the adjacent side. That means, mamimili ka na naman. Among the three basic trigonometric ratio, sine, cosine, and tangent, anong gagamitin natin? Si SO, si K, o si TOA? Kasi we have the opposite and the adjacent side. So, kuhain natin yan. That means we'll be using the tangent function. So, tangent theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So, ang angle natin this time, hindi na lang siya basta angle A. Kasi, meron binigay na value. So, we will use that 63 degrees. So, instead of tangent theta, we'll make it tangent 63 degrees is equal to 11 over B. Bakit? Ang 11 natin is our opposite side and then yung B natin is adjacent side. O over A. Gets po? So, this time, hindi na ngayon si angle yung missing. Si side na yung missing. Yan. May strategy dyan. how do we solve for the value of b? So pagka ang variable natin ay nasa denominator, one property of proportions is that you can interchange the position. Ayan, nakita niyo yung nangyari? Pwede nating pagpalitin yung position nitong tangent 63 at saka nitong si b. So that we will now be having solo na siya dun sa kaliwa. B is equal to 11 over tangent 63. Gets? And then after that, you can just input it on our scientific calculator. So you can just press 11, ay sorry, ito muna pala tayo, fraction 11 over tan 63. So, wag niyong kakalimutan maglagay ng close parenthesis kasi usually nagma-math error yan kapag hindi kumpleto yung parenthesis sa denominator. So 11 over tan 63 or tangent 63 and then you press equal. So that's gonna be around 5.60. So ayun yung value ng B. So fit yung ating unit. Gets po? Yan, di ba? Kayang-kaya. Nagsinga lang ng solution. Huwag niyong kalimutan yun. Kapag yung denominator natin is yung variable na gusto mong isolve, pagpalitin mo lang siya nung nandun sa may kaliwang side ng ating equation. Anyway, right after that, we can now solve for the value of C. Ayan. But this time, kukuhain ulit natin si 11. Kasi yan yung binigay sa atin na value. Now, to solve for the value of C, hindi mo na gagamitin yung TOA. Kasi si C ay hindi adjacent side. Ito si C, siya yung ating hypotenuse. That means magbabago yung trigonometric ratio na gagamitin natin. Hindi na si TOA. Si SO na this time because we have now our given, the opposite side, 11 feet. And the one that we're looking for, that is the hypotenuse, which is C. So, gagamit tayo ng SO. Or sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. This time, anong angle natin? 63 degrees pa rin naman. So, sine 63 degrees is equal to 11 over C. Yan. So, katulad nung ginawa natin kanina, yan, since nasa denominator na naman yung ating variable, pagpalitin lang natin. So, swap. Pinagbabawal na technique, no? Para mabilis ma-solve. So, C is equal to 11 over sine 63. That's gonna be equal to, type nga natin sa cycle to. Ayan. 11, wait lang. Gawin natin fraction. 11 over sine 63. Ayan. Then close parenthesis. That's gonna be 12.35. Round it off eh. So, 345 eh. 0.345. So, 12.35 feet. Okay. So, sige, practice tayo. Let's have another example that is similar to this one.
Okay, so 3 minutes is up. I think we can now check your answers kung ano yung inabot nating sagutan. So, ito yung pinakamahirap, di ba? Yung sukat ng angle B. Since the measurement of angle A is 37 degrees, you can just subtract that 37 degrees from 90 degrees and you'll be having the answer that is equal to 53 degrees. Yan, sorry, meron pala dapat nakalagay na unit dyan. Yan, para masubtract sila. Anyway, that's gonna be equal to 53 degrees. Ganun lang siya kahirap or kadali. And for us to solve for the missing value of B, sige, you can type your answers on the chat box ha. Paano natin makuha yung B? Since B is the one that we're looking for, so that's gonna be our adjacent side, and then we're given with the opposite side, si 6 decimeter. So, gagamit tayo ng TOA dyan, tan. Tangent of angle is equal to opposite over adjacent. So, ang opposite natin ay 6, and then ang adjacent natin ay B. So, tan 37, or tangent 37 degrees, kasi yun yung given natin na angle, is equal to 6 over B. Therefore, pwede nating iswap yung position ni B at saka ni 37, tangent 37. So, that's gonna be around 6 over tangent 37, which is equal to 7.96 decimeters. Gets po? Ayan. So, for the measurement of C naman, so once again, gagamitin natin ulit yung opposite side, and then ito naman, hypotenuse. So ulit yung gagamitin natin. So, sine of the given angle opposite over hypotenuse. So, sine of the given angle, which is 37, is equal to 6 over C. So, pagpalitin lang natin yung pwesto nila. So, magiging C is equal to 6 over sine 37, which is equal to 9.97 decimeters. Gets?
Malapit na tayo. Ito na ang ating huling example. In this case, this is almost the same with our third example. Although the difference is, kung yung isa kanina ay leg yung given, dito hypotenuse. Same process pa rin yung gagamitin natin. So, we have here the given hypotenuse and an acute angle of the right triangle. So, we have here 27 as our hypotenuse of right triangle ABC, and we have here 58 degrees as our given angle. So, Una, sa pinakamadaling gawin dyan is isolve mo na agad yung sukat ng angle B. So we can subtract that 58 degrees from 90 degrees because the sum of the acute angles will just be equal to 90 degrees. So we'll be getting the measurement of angle B that is equal to 32 degrees. And then after that, yan, we can now solve for the value of A. So identify muna natin si 58 degrees ang ating given angle. And very good, Princess, 32 degrees. Ayan, so siya ang magsaserve or magsasabi sa atin nasan si opposite siya kasi adjacent. Because automatically, gagamitin naman talaga natin dyan yung given natin na value ng hypotenuse which is 27 meters. So that's one already. And then, ano ba yung gusto mong isolve? The value of A or the measurement of side A. So ano ba yan si side A? Opposite o adjacent? Opposite side kasi opposite siya ng ating reference angle. So, meron ka ngayong hypotenuse tsaka opposite side. Therefore, ano yung gagamitin natin sa tatlo? Is it SO, CA, or TOA? Yan, syempre, yung merong opposite at hypotenuse sa pangalan niya, si SO. Ayan, so we have sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So, ang ating theta or given angle is gonna be 58 degrees. Therefore, we have sine 58 degrees is equal to our opposite side, which is A, and our hypotenuse, which is 27. Ayan. So, we can just, ayan, input it like this one. Sine of 58 degrees is equal to A over 27. Ngayon, hindi natin pwedeng pagpalitin yung pwesto nila kasi pares lang lalabas eh. We can multiply both sides by 27. And, or pwede rin naman yung process ng cross product or we can just cross multiply that 27 to sine 58 degrees. So that means we will now have 27 times sine 58 degrees is equal to the value of side A. Ayan. So that's gonna be 27 times sine 58 degrees. So type lang natin sa cycle natin. Then close parenthesis. So we'll have around 22.90 degrees. Ay, not degrees. Side pala yan. 22.90 meters. Yun pala ang ating unit. Gets po? Ayan. So, aside from that, we can now solve for the value of side B. Yan. This time, hindi na ngayon opposite side yung gagamitin natin. Tapos na tayo dyan sa opposite side kasi nasolve na natin yung value ni A. Lipat na tayo sa kabila kay side B, which is our adjacent side. So, that means we'll be using adjacent and hypotenuse. Ibig sabihin yan, this time, hindi na si SO, but rather si CA. Which means cosine is equal to, or cosine theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. So, ang ating adjacent side ay B. So, ano mangyayari dyan? Cosine 58 degrees is equal to B, which is our adjacent side, and our hypotenuse, which is 27. So, B over 27. Now, katulad lang nung ginawa natin kanina, we can cross multiply that 27 to cosine 58 degrees. Therefore, the value of B will be equal to 27 times cosine 58 degrees. So, anong makukuha natin dyan? That's gonna be around 14.31 meters kasi ang unit na ginagamit natin dito ay meters. Gets po? Although I have prepared a practice exercise for this certain example.
I hope you understand the lesson for today. Until next time, bye!